Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here to join me. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and share this video. Let's jump right into it. Today, I want to talk about how black men need to be perfect in order for them to date black women. Ha! Joke, right? Like, when has that ever been a thing? Like, listen to me. Black women have accepted any and almost everything, okay? For the sake of wanting to be loved, valuing love, and just being hopeless romantics. You know what I mean? And so just because someone challenges you a little bit and says, hey, there's some things that you need to work on, doesn't mean that I'm dehumanizing you, doesn't mean that, I don't see that you can't be perfect. Like, nobody's perfect. Nobody's on this planet is perfect. I've never said, black men have to be perfect. That's not my angle. What I am saying is you don't have to be perfect, but you need to be prepared, because all our lives we had to fight. Okay. Hashtag color purple, hashtag Oprah. Okay. We all our lives we had to fight. Okay. One of the ladies in the comments, she made a valid point. She said under the John Gray video that I made, she said, before we could even talk, they're shoving us baby dolls and we're learning the family dynamic at that age. And I can remember, at that age, the whole easy bake oven, all of that is conditioning. Okay. We get conditioned. I remember being a little girl and, my mom calling me in the kitchen, to teach me, how to cook. And I was helping her cook. And I was like, why am I here? My brother was chilling, watching TV, y'all. He was chilling. Why am I in the kitchen? Oh, and I would rebel against it. And I remember I was told, well, when you get married, you need to know how to do this. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm 8. Like, what? Why am I being taught to prepare for a husband? Like, what is this about? Like, why am I being taught this? But we're taught from a young age to be managers of the home. We're taught how to be CEOs. We're taught how to be scholars. We're taught how to take care of family. Like, we're taught from a young age. Even though they put it in the form of games, we're taught at a young age in order to prepare to have a family. Yes, okay, the boys are taught to take the trash out, you mow the grass, my brother knew how to cook too. Like, my mom made sure of that, but because he was first. So while you here, you're going to learn something. But it's just the pressure, like, that's on women to do certain things. And boys don't have that same pressure. They get to have fun. They get to really just play and everything like that. I mean, some other stories are different, but I'm just telling you, I just want to back up what I'm saying by quoting former First Lady, or hashtag forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. This is what she said this time last year, in November. We love our boys and we raise our girls, Obama said. We raise them to be strong, and sometimes we take care not to hurt men. And I think we pay for that a little bit. But that same strength we use to raise girls, Obama suggested, need to be defined in a way that doesn't aid misogyny, but upholds positive values when it comes to boys. It's powerful to have strong men, but what does that strength mean? Does it mean respect? Does it mean responsibility? Does it mean compassion? Or are we protecting our men too much so that they feel a little entitled and a little, self-righteous sometimes, right? So we love our boys and we raise our girls. So if you are a parent, and you have young kids, raise your boys and girls the same way. The same way you tell, your little girls to, save themselves for marriage, tell your little boys that same thing. You tell your little girls to respect herself, tell your little boys the same thing. Don't raise your little girls to expect a Prince Charming and then you raise your sons to be womanizers and play the field and all this other stuff. Most of the time, I understand. Let's contextualize some of the things that a lot of men have gone through in their childhood. They may not have had fathers to teach them certain things, or the father was there, but he was working 2 and 3 jobs. He couldn't be there to teach them. Parents didn't raise them to have a family mindset, in mind. And people are saying, oh, well, boys mature, they don't mature as fast as women do, as little girls do. Okay, with all that being said, we understand that. Now that you're an adult, we understand the odds that were set against you. Now that you are an adult, sir, there's things that you have to learn. There's things that you have to grow into. And I don't believe it is the woman's job to teach you all of those things. What your mom and dad may not have been able to give you, there's Google search. There's many wonderful YouTube videos. There's people out here that's willing to teach you about communication, about relationship. There's conferences. TD Jakes has like a He Motion conference. Like there's things out there. There's resources out there for you to go to. But when I have asked men this question, I said, well, why don't y'all go to conferences? Why don't you go to marriage conferences? Why don't y'all go to singles conferences? And they said, well, what's the point of learning that stuff now if I'm single? There's no reason for me to learn to be in a relationship when that person's not here. So a lot of men have this I'll cross that bridge when I get there mentality, and they don't feel like they should prepare before the woman comes. But the black church, they shove it down women's throats that they need to be prepared mentally, psychologically, physically, everything for the man that comes into their life. And if we're not prepared, we can ruin that man's life that we're about to get into a relationship with. And so I'm going to say it to men, because men are not telling you the truth. They don't want to say it, but I'm going to tell you this. If you do not fix what you need to fix in your life, and you do not prepare, and you get with a woman, you may ruin her life. And it's not fair to her. And so there's a pastor, his name is, or a prophet, Dr. Matthew Stevenson. He says, if you know what's wrong with you and you actively seek out a relationship and get with someone, you, sir, are irresponsible, right? You are irresponsible, and you will pay for that. That is not okay for you to do that, especially if you know what your triggers are, what your insecurities are, and you identify the areas in your life that you've been betrayed and you've been broken. You have to do your due diligence to heal from that experience before you get in a relationship with somebody else. A lot of men are online talking about they're ready for a relationship on these apps and on these online sites, or when you meet these people face to face, they're saying they're ready, but a lot of these men are emotionally unavailable because of the hurt and things that they have gone through. And so, ladies, you have to be able to trust your gut and your instinct, Holy Spirit, however you want to say it. You have to be able to trust, even though you don't know what's wrong and you feel something's wrong, trust that, pray about it, ask God to give you clarity. Don't continue to go on in that relationship, because God might be protecting you from that person, but we want to be superwoman. We want to put on that cape, and we want to fix that because we see something in him. He is going to be great, but you don't have to be, you know what I mean, the person that's going to make him become great. Maybe it just might be him and God. You know what I mean? Because oftentimes what happens is, because he's not ready and you force that man, you make him into the person he's supposed to be. And guess what? Another woman benefits off of that. You know what I mean? So we have to be mindful about who we're pouring into. You know what I mean? Who are we pouring into? Who are we choosing to invest our time and energy in? If the person is not on a self-love journey, he's not on a personal development journey, he's not working on anything, that there's nothing he can say. He can't admit that he has any flaws. He can't admit that he has something going on. He's not self-aware about any issues he has, then that's a red flag. And he might not be aware of it, but it may be affecting him in other areas of his life. Yes, you don't have to be perfect. Women are not perfect either, but we've been told by men for years that we need to work on our stuff, and we've been working. So it's time for gentlemen to start working as well. So what we have to do is we have to vet them. What's your vision? Where are you going in life? What is your assignment? If they don't know that, then of course, okay, they're not perfect. He doesn't know what his vision is. Sis, it's not your job to show him what it is. It's not your job to tell him what it is. So if he doesn't have those things, he's not prepared to wife you. If he doesn't know where he's going, he's not prepared to wife you. What are you submitting to, right? What are you submitting to? We have to submit one to another, but wives are supposed to submit unto their husband's leadership. Where is he leading you? If he doesn't know who he is, where he's going, how he's getting there, you know what I mean? It's just like a car. Ain't nobody want to waste gas to go to a destination where we don't know where we're going. And I completely agree with First Lady, and she also said, we raise our girls to be perfect, our daughters to be perfect. You know what I mean? And so women do not get a pass to be mediocre. We do not get a pass. We have to keep it right, keep it tight, hair done, nails done, everything did. We have to look the part, dress the part, be the part, because they tell us what we won't do, another woman will, which I feel like is absolutely disgusting. Do not fall into that trap. Do not fall into that trap, about, them shaming you. If you allow a man to be a man, then another woman's going to come and cater to him, or whatever the case may be. If your fear is losing a man and you're going to keep up with trying to hold him down and keep him together, then that's a toxic relationship right there. And you should not mess around with something like that. And so if you're talking to a guy and you see areas in his life, if there's areas in his life, you tell him, hey, I think that this right here may be something, you need to work on. And he's upset at you. He's defensive. You came at him in the proper way. You weren't trying to attack or anything. Well, that's how I am. That's who I am. And if you can't, then you already see that that's somebody that cannot accept correction. And if the person cannot accept correction, the Bible says a fool does not accept correction. So you already know, if you marry this person, this is someone that's not teachable. This is someone that's not flexible, and they're not willing to make adjustments or make changes. You cannot help that person. That's your assignment, right? You're not a construction worker, you're a helper. And so if you're trying to offer this person help, and every time you suggest something, or you say this might work, or you might think about doing this, and he objects and he's not, that's what your marriage is going to be like. You're going to be fighting this man. Let me help you. And that's not going to be an enjoyable experience, because he's not accepting his favor. A wife is the man's favor. He's not accepting it. And so, if in dating he won't even take a little critique, then, he won't be able to handle your help, and he won't allow you to be able to express, some things that can make him better. But you're not building from scratch. And I want to talk about President Barack Obama. If you haven't seen the movie South Side with You, check it out. I'm going to get Michelle's book. I want to read it. It looks absolutely amazing. I saw clips of the interview, and I'm going to check out that interview as well. And Barack was not perfect. You know what I mean? He was not perfect. He had a lot of things that were against it. You know his story. His father wasn't in his life. His grandparents raised him. His mom was in and out of his life, or whatever the case may be. And he had a lot of hurt. He had a lot of daddy issues. It didn't matter who raised him, but he had a lot of daddy issues, or whatever the case may be. But when Michelle met him, she said he was a solid guy. And he was already at Harvard. Yeah, he was her intern, but he was at Harvard already. He was already in the community, doing his thing, mentoring young men and doing stuff. Like he already had something going for himself. So Michelle wasn't building anything from scratch, you guys. That's not what she was doing. But he had a lot of odds against him. You know what I mean? But he pushed through those odds. I want to talk about Clifton Powell. That's another guy. He's been in over 100 movies, and he was on Wendy Williams recently, and he was sharing his story. His mother died, when he was really young. His father was a functioning alcoholic, and he said he ended up ruining his marriage. And you know what I mean? And so before he got into something serious again, he took a year off to he took a few years to work on himself. And then he spent like, I think a year like being friends with the woman that he's with now for 3 years. So he said, I had to figure out what I was doing wrong so I don't go into another relationship, and mess things up. I want to talk about Will Smith. There was I might do a whole entire video about this, but he shut down 2 years after there was some turbulence in his marriage. For 2 years, he said he read about maybe 50 books, so that he can fix this marriage that he has invested so much in. Like, he put in the work. He didn't let Jada cover him. He put in the work he needed to do to fix it. I mean, well, we don't know. Maybe they did do good, in the beginning. Maybe there wasn't any brokenness or whatever was going on, but he saw it fit to learn what he needed to learn to come in the relationship and do his part in the relationship. You cannot be in a relationship and you don't do your part. It's not enough because you have a car, you have an apartment, you know what I mean? And you have a job. Congratulations, you're an adult. That's not enough. There's work that both parties have to do to make a relationship successful. Some of the videos that I talked about, I'm going to put them in the description box so you can kind of look at them and look at Clifton Powell's story and all of that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, nobody's asking anybody to be perfect. But I know there's a huge double standard when it comes to what men are required to bring to the table and what women are required to bring to the table. And all we're asking for is for y'all to meet us on the same level, right? Back in the day, there was a jam, an ATL jam that was get on my level, right? Sierra saying level up, but we're saying get on our level, period. Like, there should be no reason why, you're fighting this. Like, you're fighting to become a better human being. Like, why are you fighting that? Like, I don't understand that. Like, this is for your betterment. And ladies, we deserve better. Like, you shouldn't have to accept crumbs because someone wants to give it to you. No, you get to say, I don't want crumbs. I want a whole loaf. Because we don't give crumbs. We give everything we have. Why do you think it's okay for you to just accept anything that someone's offering you? Well, be grateful. At least somebody wants to be with you. No, that's not enough. And it's okay to ask for more. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your whole entire day. Whenever you get to hear this, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like. Stay tuned for more videos. And in the meantime, go through my playlist for relationship talk, I think, and check out my videos. All right, have a great one.